Hi, I'm Journey, and I just want to give you a little info about the position of an actor from an actor with a little help from my notes. So in terms of the position, actors are probably the most seen part of theater out of any theater career, obviously, and the polished and natural feel of an actor's performance often represents years of training and onstage experience. So acting is usually enhanced by things like imagination, emotional honesty, empathy, an ability to focus and listen, insight into the psychology of human behavior, a ready understanding of and love for language, reading, research, and definitely text analysis skills. Other skills like singing and dancing are really good enhancements in terms of helping you expand your range of roles, but they're not necessary to be an actor. You can still be an actor without those skills. So, typical day in terms of the position. So a typical day for an actor really depends on that actor's career level and that actor's ambitions. So I'd say that a typical day for a typical actor usually involves auditioning for future projects, performing for the current projects that they've already been cast in or collaborating in, and exercising their skill sets through workshops and different classes. And when I say exercising their skill sets, I just mean that in terms of being an actor, all of your responsibilities are directly tied to your skill sets. And that's not just singing classes and dancing classes. It could be anything from clowning workshops to voiceover classes, anything that is helping actors with the skill sets that they prefer to use when performing. So your typical day is auditioning for projects, performing in projects, and working on your skills for more projects. Okay, how your responsibilities change in relation to the production. So like I said before, for an actor, your responsibilities are usually directly tied to your skill sets. So what that means is your skill sets, obviously, they're kind of like a toolbox, and you take out different tools depending on the production, and that's how your responsibilities change. For example, if you were cast in a reading, then you're not just acting for the reading, then you have to pull out the skill set and therefore the responsibility of text analysis, because it is your job in that position to help whoever has written the script flesh out your character and flesh out exactly what the script is about. Now, an example of how your skill sets and therefore your responsibilities change in terms of production is the obvious example of straight plays versus musicals. So if you're in a straight play, obviously you're taking out a lot of skill sets and therefore responsibilities like text analysis, research, empathy. And that's not to say you don't use those things in musicals, but depending on the play, you might not have to take out your tap skills or your musical abilities. That might be something that you need for the musical role that you've been cast in, and therefore you are responsible for making sure your tap skills are up to par. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, as an actor, what you have to do before a production, during a production, and after production. So before production, obviously, you're preparing for the role, and that could be things like text analysis, like we talked about before. Depending on your role, the amount of research you have to do changes, but you're probably always doing research no matter what your role is, and obviously memorizing lines. So it's just before the production, you are preparing the script. Like, obviously, you're always doing workshops for your acting skills. You're always taking your lessons depending on your skill set. But like what you are doing before the production is preparing the script. During the production, you are obviously performing. That is your main responsibility. Nothing should get in the way of that. During the production, you are performing. After the production, the main thing that an actor is doing is taking notes in, whether that is notes from their director, their choreographer, their line reader. They're also mentally assessing their own notes, assessing their own performance, and then they're probably going back to what they did before the first production, which is preparing the text, doing more and more research, analyzing the text further. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that their next performance is on the same level or even better than the performance before. Okay, position-specific terminology. So acting is a really big thing that feels different for every actor. Like I said, acting can be anything, which means the terminology is very expansive. I'm going to read to you a list that Backstage has particularly for screen acting. Their terminology includes background performer, principal performer, understudy, stand-in, stunt person, and day player. And in terms of stage acting, it's just really, really important that you have a general sense of your stage directions. And now advice. And I did write this down, but no notes for this, I promise. Just genuine advice from one actor to another. You don't have to be unhappy just to get to where you want to be. Like, even if you want to be a Broadway star or a Hollywood movie star, you can still get to those places, I promise you, without fulfilling the role of a starving artist. That's a stereotype. You don't have to work at a coffee shop to get by or grab a role that makes you really uncomfortable just to climb to the top. Being an actor is way more flexible than you think. Like, you can write a book about your acting experiences, you can create a devised piece, you can get cast in a reading, you can get a role in a fiction podcast, and you can do all of those things at the exact same time. And through doing those things, you can still build experiences and make connections that help you in your career. You can do those things. It's way more flexible than you think it is, I promise. You're in a really good position.
We hope this information was informative and helpful. If you still have questions, please leave us a comment at the bottom of this video or reach out to us on our other social media platforms. If you want to send us an email, find us at pocket.vr.theater@gmail.com. Have a great day.